Good evening to everyone. I hope you're enjoying your summer day, not too hot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm attorney Melissa Williams, a volunteer attorney and executive director at the Wiley Resource Center Legal Support Program. Tonight we have our illustrious co-host back with us, Larry Kimbrough. If you want to introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're from.
Like she said, Larry Kimbrough is my name. I'm the owner and operator of Stay Focused Network. I'm formerly a resident of the Lawndale community. Now I'm a suburbanite. I don't know how that works out, but I'll be back.
Well, the good thing is that what we're talking about on tonight, the legal support program, the expungement, sealing, and pardon initiative, and House Bill 5723, the criminal record sealing bill, all of those things are applicable to Larry, even though he's in the burbs, because this is a state-wide initiative for the entire state of Illinois. So as you can see on your screen, this is a live call-in show. So if you have questions or comments, you should feel free to call in and communicate with us. Don't be scared. We want to hear from you. And also for the folks that are watching on the internet, this is streaming live there as well. So this can be watched anywhere around the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, or around the world. What we want to talk a little bit about tonight, we have several topics. One of them, of course, is always going to be the sealing bill and the importance of the bill. And we'll give you our information on how you can get in contact with us for us to be able to assist you with clearing up your criminal background. But also we're going to be joined a little later in the show by Nikki Harvey, who is a representative volunteer with the Chicago Police Department. And they're going to be taking part in National Night Out on tomorrow evening. And that is a national initiative to deal with crime and violence in our communities across the United States. So Nikki, hopefully we'll get a chance to call in a little bit later and we'll talk more about that and how you can get involved as well. So let's jump into it.
All right. Well, we're going to jump now.
One of the things that we've noticed, we've talked about this a little bit, is that there are a number of initiatives going on, not only in the state of Illinois, but also around the United States. There are different states that are working on their versions of the sealing bill. And so the funny thing is, today, when I was doing the research necessary for our show on tonight, I ran across an article that had been written, and we're actually quoted in the article about our work with State Representative Ford and the Illinois House and the Senate on the criminal record sealing bill. And some of the other states are going through the same struggles that we are. As far as wanting to see ex-offenders get, I don't just say a second chance, Congressman Davis' Second Chance Act on the federal level, but another chance, right? Because some people, they don't just have two things on their record, they have multiple things on there, but they have truly reformed their lives. So this particular article was talking about the right to privacy that ex-offenders have, and this whole concept of wanting to give them a second or another chance versus the First Amendment freedom of speech right that reporters feel like they have to report information on people's backgrounds. So we want to talk about that a little bit on tonight. What do you think, Larry? Do you think which one outweighs the other?
Well, first, I think I need some clarification. What actually is the difference between the two?
Well, all of us have a right to privacy, right? We don't have all of our information just published everywhere on the internet, unless we're like putting stuff on Facebook that we shouldn't be putting up there, right? And the right to privacy is extremely important. And the right for people to be able to start their lives anew and be able to get jobs, housing, education, public assistance, right? But there are folks that are saying that they're employers and they are landlords and they want to know who is coming to them to apply for a job or to apply for housing, and they should know everything about that person and that they're worried about getting sued. So we'll talk about the legal part of that, but just on the regular GP part of that, what do you think about that? Off general principle, come on, y'all. What are you guys thinking about that?
That's got to be, it's got to be like wrong somewhere in there. I just can't see that somebody can get all the information about me and I don't have nothing to do with them. I'm just applying for an apartment. I'm just staying in your building. but you need to know everything about me for the last, how old am I? Okay. I'm young still. I'm 25. I'm mid-back. But to me, I think that's a big concern if anybody can just go downtown and do a background check and get everything about you. I can see if it was something, a child molestation, pedophile, something like that. Yeah, you want to know who you're going to be living around. But just a person that maybe when they was 15, 16, might have just been hanging with the wrong person, was in the car or something like that, and got pulled over or arrested. I think that's a little bit too much. It's going back to that 9/11 thing for me. It's just like, okay, now you need to know everything all of a sudden because we at war, that terrorist act, Patriot Act.
Well, what I do want to clear up for people, and maybe this will help to put them at ease as well, is that if a ceiling bill is passed, right, this ceiling bill would legislate and tell you what it is that you have a right to see and what you don't have a right to see. So therefore, if someone comes back and they say, you hired Melissa Williams and she used to commit retail theft 30 years ago, and so you shouldn't hire her to work at Target. We understand that she hasn't committed any offenses in the past 30 years, but she just shouldn't be able to work at Target because of that retail theft. But the bottom line says, if this bill is passed, that you can't hold that employer liable for something that legally they are not able to see anyway. The same thing for someone that you would be bringing into your apartment complex, right? If the law tells you that you're not supposed to be looking at their sealed record anyway, then you're protected. In fact, the only way that it could be held against you is if you're looking at this record and you're not supposed to be seeing it. So that's one of the things that was in our article this week, is that, some of the folks were saying, well, we shouldn't be held responsible for looking at records from, 10 or 20 years ago before this law was passed. The reality of it all is you cannot hold this against someone if this is something that the law says that you are not able to do.
But if you have a record that's sealed and somebody goes to look at your record, they will be able to see that you have something sealed or no?
What they would see, now this is the general public, obviously the FBI, certain agencies for certain types of jobs, they're still going to be able to see a sealed record. Law enforcement, they'll still be able to see it. But for the general public, what they will see is the word sealed. And the reality is, you cannot hold that sealed record against someone. Okay. It would be illegal for you to do that. And let's not forget our EEOC ruling, right? Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which says that in employment situations, you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to hire such and such because they're an ex-offender. That explanation is not sufficient. It wasn't sufficient 20 years ago when the EEOC first came up with this, but they reissued this guidance. That's how serious they are about it in April of this year. Right. So you've got to look at the type of offense it was, how long ago it was, and if it's even related to the job that they are applying for.
Question. Now, if I'm applying for a job, how do I know that just because my record's sealed and all you're going to see is seal, how do I know that red flag right there that's saying the seal is, they're not going to come back and ask me what their record was? Or how do I know that they have a third party agency doing their application process and saying, oh, red flag, pass it on? How do I know as a regular citizen that that's not happening? Or is it just
Well, there are a couple of things, Larry, and we'll talk a little bit more about Ban the Box, which is right now known as House Bill 1210. Okay. But the bottom line is, when your record is sealed, it allows you to legally say no on your employment applications about you having been convicted of an offense, right? Okay. And it does not say, oh, but the employer can now come back in the job interview and say, what particular offense was that? Okay. The way that EEOC ruling works, though, is for folks who have backgrounds that cannot be expunged or under the current law cannot be sealed right now, right? Even for those folks who you see exactly what it is that they have committed, right? You've done the background check, that information has come up. You have to apply that test, right? What type of job it is, what type of offense was committed, and how long ago it was that the offense was committed. You need to apply that rule, because otherwise that person that you're saying that you will not hire because of their background, the bottom line is they may have grounds for a discrimination suit against you. Okay. Now, Now, let's talk about this. Discrimination lawsuits are burden shifting tests, right? So let's say I bring the lawsuit. It's my burden to prove that I've been discriminated against, right? But when I present my information, it's going to be up to the employer that is allegedly discriminated against me to show that they have not in fact discriminated. They've got to be able to demonstrate that to the court. Okay. So this is not just a situation where I'm just going to be able to win because I say, whoa, discrimination. But by the same token, I'm not going to lose just because you say, hey, I didn't discriminate against you. Okay. If you can't demonstrate that there was no discrimination, you may still be liable. Right? Okay. So you want to really think carefully about denying people the opportunity to work at your company because they're ex-offenders. That's something that you really want to stay away from. You want to stay away from those discrimination suits. Okay. We see that we have a caller.
Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening. How you doing?
All right.
Yes, I applied for a job, and I let the employers know previously before they hired me that I was an ex-offender. I'd never been to prison, but I have a background. Mm-hmm. And they gave me the drug test. They did the reference check, and everything came back, and all of a sudden, I'm sorry, we can't hire you. And because they're saying something else came up in record, I'm asking them, and like they're just like ignoring me. So I called the corporate to talk to one of their representatives last week and today, and he said he's going to get back to me. He won't get back to me. Is anything that I can do? Because on the application, it happened 7 years ago. It's been 10 years ago this situation happened. And I think I'm really being discriminated against, and I like your show. Thank you very much, both of you beautiful people.
Oh, thank you.
I need some help just to help another man or woman in this situation. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's jump into what he's saying here. I would tell people, if you have a background, now we're not just going to go around filing lawsuits all willy-nilly, as Cedric the Entertainer would say, right?
I'm going to say together we can do something together. Okay.
But the bottom line is there are instances where discrimination has occurred and they won't tell you why. Just like in his situation, he's not able to get a response, or they give you some type of bogus response. What we would suggest is that you give us a call over at the Wiley Resource Center, that you leave your name and your phone number specifically. Let our staff know that you were watching the show on tonight, that you've got some concerns about employment discrimination based off of a criminal background. Let's take a deeper look into the situation and see exactly what's going on. And we also have some partners that we work with. When it comes to the ceiling bill, there are over 75 organizations around the state of Illinois who are supporting the ceiling bill, and a number of them are legal organizations. And so there are attorneys that deal specifically with discrimination issues. And we're going to, if there seems to be some basis here, we're going to get you over to them so that way you can look into filing a suit. Right? And we're big on this here about standing up for yourself and standing up for your rights, right? Standing up for yourself in the courtroom, and also standing up for yourself when it comes to this legislation. Right? You need to speak truth. You've heard it said a million times, speak truth to power. Right? Our elected officials, we are voting for them. We're putting them in office and paying their salaries with our tax dollars. So if we have concerns, they need to hear from us. Right?
Correct.
Let me put this out there as well. Larry, you've been doing some work with the folks that you work with at Breaking Ground.
Correct. Because
a number of them are ex-offenders. Can you tell us some of the things that some of the folks you work with, some of the steps that they've been taking to contact legislators about passing House Bill 5723?
Well, besides the obvious, trying to just go around in the area and just demonstrate to people about the effectiveness of the bill, one of the best things that we come up with, thanks to this young lady here, is try to email not a couple, but all, if I'm hoping all the state and the Senate, just to see if they will respond to our calling. And I did that over the weekend, and I got a couple responses back today. A couple of them didn't have any idea about the House bill, which I'm okay with, but that means that we just got a lot more work to do. But the thing that we're doing at Breaking Ground, or trying to do at Breaking Ground, is make sure that we do this on a regular basis, like everybody else needs to. They need to do this on a regular basis. Like everybody's jumping on for lawsuits or whatnot. This is something that we need to jump on. This is something that we need. Without this bill passing, it's another backstep. It's not moving forward for us at all. So it's just there at Breaking Ground. We're just trying to advocate to the students that, hey, you need to stand up for yourself. These are elected officials, like you said. We need to hold them accountable every day, not just wait until something happens dramatic in our lives and say, hey, now we need to go to the alderman or the state rep or the mayor. We need to do this stuff on the ground ourselves right now. And by doing that, calling and writing, emailing, whatever you have to do to your state legislators, and get the word out.
And one of the things that we do, that we've been trying to do for the past few months, is on Facebook, and you would actually have to go in and Google Illinois Ceiling Bill 2012 or HB 5723. And that way you would get connected with the Facebook page, and we would send out the name, the email address, the phone number, and the office address for a legislator every day. The email addresses for all state representatives and all senators in the state of Illinois are listed. Right? So that way you can get in contact with them in whatever way you feel most comfortable, whether that's by giving a call over to their office, sending them an email, dropping by if they're your district state representative or senator, and letting them know what the ceiling bill is, right. That you understand what the ceiling bill is, you understand where it is in the process, and you understand the importance to you, your family, and your community of this bill becoming a law. We did get a response from a couple of senators and state representatives, and they were attempting to school us and tell us that the bill has been referred to the House Rules Committee. Mm-hmm. It is true, it has gone back to the House Rules Committee, but that is not because it is stalled. In fact, it was planned to send it back there so that it can wait to be voted on this fall in the veto session. So it is not dead. No one is strangling the life out of it. We made sure, State Representative Ford and his colleagues did that to make sure that the bill will be able to be called this fall. That said, we've got work to do. And so what we need to see happen is we're going to need you all to get involved. If you're not exactly sure what you can do to get involved, give a call over to Miss Val at Operation 24. And this is the phone number here, and we will give you information on how it is that you can get involved. You can be added to our email blast because we do send information and updates out about the bill. We can connect you with our Facebook page. We're on Twitter. We're doing everything that we possibly can to get the word out about this bill. And we need you not to just be selfish, right? Just because you know about it in Chicago. We really need you to share this information with folks that your family and your friends around the state of Illinois. This is a statewide, not just a Chicago initiative. Right. Larry, did you have something else?
Well, another question I was just thinking about as we were talking tonight. You mentioned about the article about the other states that are involved in passing legislation just as fact as we are. What do you see the difference between in what they're doing in other states than what we're doing? Is there like a big difference?
Some of the states, what we've noticed is that rather than proposing to pass or to seal additional nonviolent felony offenses, they're saying, oh, well, let's just do it for people who have one felony or one felony and one misdemeanor. That's not what we're saying. We're saying if at least 4 years has passed since the time that people have completed their last sentence and they haven't had any negative interactions with the law, we're saying that those offenses need to become sealable. Now, some people say that this bill is not as strong as it was when we first started. And the truth of the matter is we wanted to see all nonviolent felony offenses become sealable in Illinois, but we were not able to do that. Okay. So what we did instead is we took this bill to make it mirror the state's attorney's deferred prosecution bill. So on the front end, the Cook County State's Attorney says that there are certain offenses, most of them first-time low-level drug offenses or retail thefts, that they will not prosecute if you can successfully complete their program. We're saying for the people on the back end who have successfully completed sentences for those same offenses, with the exception of the fact that we've added a class 2 felony drug possession case. Right? Though we're saying those cases should become sealable as well. So in other states, whereas they're saying just do 1 or just do 2, we're saying let's do multiple. And the reality of it is this is just the first step. This is just the first bill. There will have to be bills in the future. People will have to pick up the torch in the future so that we can get what we wanted initially, which is all nonviolent felony offenses to become sealable at some point after people have successfully completed their sentences.
Okay.
So we've got a special guest with us on the phone. We have Nikki Harvey. She is with Eden Advocacy, which is a anti-domestic violence agency, as well as she does extensive and exclusive work with the Chicago Police Department, and she has been working on National Night Out. And so we want to find out more about National Night Out and how folks in our communities can get involved.
How you doing, Nikki?
Hey, how are you?
All right.
Nikki Hardy here. Glad to talk with you all on this evening. Just wanted to welcome everyone out to National Night Out 2012. Let's get on target for National Night Out 2012. That's right. It's every Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday in August of the month in every district inside the city of Chicago. So know what district that you live in. Make sure you call your CAPS office and find out. But remember, you guys are all welcome to the 11th District's National Night Out, which will be at Garfield Park in the heart of the West Side, which is the Best Side. So meet us at Garfield Park at 5:30 for National Night Out. National Night Out has been proven to be an effective, inexpensive, and enjoyable program to promote neighborhood spirit and policing community partnerships to fight crime in a safer nation. Know that the 11th District on tomorrow is giving guns, games, and crime a going-away party on tomorrow.
All right.
So all are invited, and you guys have got to come out. Also, we have a couple announcements that we would like to share. Dream Youth Complex, which is one of the Chicago Police Department's community partners, is having a back-to-school event, and they're going to sponsor their event on the south side in the 7th Police District, which is Inglewood. Okay. So if you're in need of book bags and school supplies, free, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., meet them at the 7th District Chicago Police Station. Ask for Officer Giro at 312-747-8220. Once again, that's PO or Police Officer Gorey, and this phone number is 312-747-8220. Their community partners are the 7 District CAPS, Eden Advocacy, of course, and the Lady Barbershop. So for all who want or need school supplies in the Inglewood District, make sure you go by the 7th Chicago Police District and see Dream Youth Complex Community Development Corporation. It's a great youth corporation there on the south side.
Now, Nikki, let me ask you this. In the city of Chicago, how many districts do we have?
Well, we used to have 25, but now we have 23.
Okay. Now, let's say, we're from the Great West Side of Chicago. Absolutely. And so you've given us the information about the 11th District, and we'll give information about 10 and 15 before we leave tonight. But if I don't know which police district I live in, how can I find that out? How can I get more information about the National Night Out in my area?
You can easily call 311 right now. It's a 24-hour number. You can just pick up your telephone, your cell phone, your landline at home, dial 311, give them your address, and just let them know you want to know what district you live in. If you have computer access, or if you're a computer geek such as ourselves and you got your iPads and your iPhones, you can easily just go on to what we call ClearTask. And you can type in your address or your zip code and look that up, and it will show you where your district is located. Okay.
And so this is going to be tomorrow evening, and this is a family event. It's a neighborhood event, right? There's
absolutely
games and food.
Even the big kids can get book bags.
Even the big kids. We're having a gospel good time in the 11th District, so you got to make sure you're calm. It's a great community event for all. Okay. There are tons of games for youth and games for senior citizens. But it's one thing I want to say before I go. Eden Advocacy supports House Bill 5723.
Thank you.
And everyone needs to support House Bill 5723. And know that you need to call your representatives, call your state congressman, make noise about House Bill 5723. If you are not an ex-offender, look down your family chain and know that someone has had an incident with the law, whether it was their fault or not, and know that everyone needs not a second chance, but another chance.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Nikki.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Love you guys.
Love
Take
you
care.
too. You have been with us on the Wiley Resource Center. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.